It's starting. Hi, Rebecca. How are you?
Hi, Arielle. It's so great to be here.
Good. For those of you who don't know Rebecca, I am so excited to introduce her. She is an international best-selling author, the host of the top 1% globally ranked Balanced, Beautiful, and Abundant podcast, which I had the pleasure of being a guest on just a couple weeks ago, and a creator of the 7 pillars of abundance, which is why we're here today to talk about that. Rebecca helps people align their lives so they can experience more fun, freedom, and fulfillment. And this just resonated so much with me because I'm very busy all the time and I don't feel like I do have enough fun, honestly. That's
Mm.
a point in my, like a pain point in my life that I want to work on. So this is coming at a great time. And I'm sure other women feel the same way.
Well,
So
I'm so
yeah,
happy to be here. Thanks for having me on your show.
great. Well, we're so happy to have you. Okay, I'm going to start with my first question. And so for those of you who are just discovering Rebecca, can you just share about your journey and what led you to this work around abundance?
Yes, and thank you for your kind intro. And I never thought I would be doing this kind of work. I mean, USA Today said I was the top 5 entrepreneur to watch in 2024, and that is so far from what I thought I'd be doing because I actually moved to LA to be an actress. And although I had small parts on big shows like Friends, CSI, and 24, I couldn't quite get a full-time income going from acting. So I discovered the children's acting school industry, which I really love because unlike you, I don't have kids. And when I worked at a kids acting school, I got to be around kids and then go home to have a quiet home life. And it was just so fun being around kids in the performing arts. But what I liked most about the job was during the day, I got to study with great thought leaders like Michael Beckwith, Esther Hicks, Louise Hay, Wayne
Mm.
Dyer, and Marianne Williamson, and I started applying the law of attraction to my life. And I began making 6 figures at a children's acting school and getting really healthy, but I didn't apply it so well to my love life. And I kept picking emotionally unavailable, narcissistic men and trying to change them, which is a sad and exhausting
Yeah.
lifestyle.
Yes.
And I married one. 3 years after marriage, I filed for divorce because it was just a very verbally abusive situation for me. And as my marriage was unraveling, my dad was slowly dying. And in one of the last conversations, he said, Rebecca, the way you're living life is so different. Can you write a book about it? And a few months later, my dad passed away, my marriage was dissolved, and I was sitting across the desk from my financial planner. And he said, Rebecca, even though you had a hard year, you lost your marriage and your dad, you're having your best financial year ever. You're actually a millionaire. And I think you should teach women how to be resilient. So I wrote a book called How to Make a 6 Figure Income Working Part-Time. And in that book, I outlined the 7 pillars of abundance. And now I teach burned out, overwhelmed women to be balanced, beautiful, and abundant and to achieve success through alignment in these 7 areas rather than the hustle and grind.
Wow. That is
Mm.
very inspiring. I
Thank you.
love how you started out as one thing and just kind of found your purpose through all these trials and tribulations. That's really cool. Really
Thank you.
cool. You've accomplished so much professionally. You know, you've been Princeton Honors Graduate Awards and major media features. What inner shifts or struggles would you say shape the philosophy that you teach today? I know that you just mentioned a bunch that did.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
pinpoint on a few.
Well, I remember when I was new in the workforce in my 20s and I was working in a direct sales company, and they said, don't lift weights, just keep making phone calls all day, and the phone is your weight. And I blew up. I gained 30 pounds. My skin was bad. I wasn't able to sustain romantic relationships because I felt so low energy and just terrible about myself. And I actually went to a training and they said, we're going to set goals in these 6 areas of life. And you want to look at each area as like a building block to your life. And that training really changed me. and they didn't have any goals in romantic. So I have been romantically challenged up until now. Now I'm married to my soulmate for 4 years because of applying these principles. But the seven pillars of abundance are spirituality, fitness, emotions. I added romance, mental, social, and financial. So I went to this training and it really shifted me. And I didn't ever want to feel that way again. I didn't want to be overweight, bad skin, low
Right.
energy, low self-esteem. So I started setting goals in January in
Hmm.
all seven of these areas and creating intentions and affirmations to help me use these seven pillars of abundance as my roadmap to the new year.
Wow. That's amazing. I absolutely love that. I can't wait to learn more about that because I want to apply that to my life. I want to start setting goals in all of those areas for myself as well.
Great.
When people hear the word abundance, they often think about money. How do you define true abundance? And I know that you just mentioned all these different pillars. So I know
Yeah.
it should encompass maybe all of those in a way, but tell me what you think.
It does. Abundance means anything that you have more than enough of. Scarcity is the opposite of abundance. So most people are in a scarcity conversation. I don't have enough time. I don't have enough money. I don't have enough love. I don't have enough likes. I don't have enough clients versus an abundance conversation. I have more than enough time, more than enough money, more than enough love, more than enough clients. Like it's a real
Mm,
conscious effort because our reptilian brain from our cavemen, cavewoman era had to be in a scarcity because if a saber-toothed tiger was running after you, you had to like, oh my God, if I don't outrun this tiger, I'm dead.
yeah,
So we take that, it's called the limbic system, our reptilian brain to everything. When we have everything we need, we hit two buttons, we can get anything we want at our doorstep. We have food and shelter, we have our next breath, we have cars and cell phones and computers, but we still have that old caveman, cavewoman brain. So we have to be really intentional when we feel ourselves in scarcity. The
yeah.
fastest way to go to abundance is to take a deep breath and to find gratitude
Yeah.
for even being
I
alive.
I had a call with this. She's a kind of a manifestation expert, and she said to me when I was at I shared this with my audience one time, and when you're at the grocery store, for example, and you get this big bill, let's say it's $400 grocery bill, and you just immediately clench up, and you're just like, ugh. She said to me that if you change your mindset and say, I'm so blessed to be getting this food and I'm blessing this person. I'm allowing them to have a job because I'm shopping at the store. And you just kind of change your mindset around the scarcity feeling. It sounds
Yeah.
like that's very similar way to do it, to apply it.
Yeah, and you can thank all the farmers who, looked after the food and all the factory workers who packaged the food and the truckers
Yeah.
that drove the food and the people who unpacked it and put on
Yeah.
the shelves. Like there's so many people that go into our food and our restaurant, our groceries that we don't even think
Yeah.
about. We just take it for granted. But yes, your guest was absolutely right. So
Yeah.
when you find yourself in scarcity, and a lot of people have scarcity around money, whether it's an unexpected expense or a bill.
Mhm.
Like for me, I own a couple rental properties and both of them had plumbing emergencies over the holidays. And my reaction was, oh my God, it's a holidays. I don't want to be dealing with this. This is an unexpected expense. It's going to ruin my like year to date earnings. And then it's like, wait, I get to have tenants. I get to have rental properties. I get to repair homes that people are living in, that I'm providing. So it is something that I work on a daily basis.
Yeah. I really need to implement that for myself too. And it's something that I've been conscious of. Like when I get a big bill in the mail, I really am saying, somebody said once to me to say, thank God I'm rich, even though you're
Yeah.
not. And just have that mindset that you have more than enough. It's just keeping saying that to yourself. So I love that. Okay. So you briefly touched on the seven pillars of abundance. I want to go a little deeper into them and why you believe, balance across all seven is essential versus maybe you're killing it and crushing it at three of them, but is that not going to get the results you want because you're not crushing it in all seven? Tell me more.
Well, I think balance totally in the seven pillars is impossible. There's different seasons of life. You know, you are building your brand, Mama Soul, you have young kids, so you're not going to have like, every area perfect because you're in a very specific season of life. I think of it more like a symphony. Just make sure that each of the pillars is played at least once a week. For
Mm.
example, some of them are done every day, like the spirituality, they're in order of importance. So I feel like every day I start my day with a morning practice. I have an amazing abundance journal that I've been using these journal prompts since, I don't know, like the 90s. They're absolutely life-changing. I'm going to gift them to your audience, by the way, because
Oh,
they help you transform scarcity thinking to abundance thinking. And they've really been the number one tool for my spiritual path. So I start my day every morning with the abundance journal, prayer, meditation, workout maybe 5 or 6 days a week, emotional, being in scarcity or abundance. That's like a minute to minute practice that I do every day. Now, romantic, I don't go out every night with my husband. So we try for one date night a week where we're not looking at our phones, which is a great thing to do.
we all
Uh,
need to do that.
huh?
We all need to do that.
We all need to do that, and we're all addicted to our phones. After romance is mental, and that's something I do every day. I'm listening to podcasts, I'm listening to YouTube videos, audibles, when I'm driving, when I'm like doing my skincare, I'm putting on my awesome Mama Soul sunscreen in the morning. I'm listening to something that is going to help me mentally and help me learn something. And after mental is social. Now, I'm not in a season where I'm socializing a lot because I'm also building my coaching business. So once a week, I try to schedule a coffee or lunch with a friend. That's all I do, just once a week, and it's really fun. And then financial is something that I try to work on 5 days a week. I don't always take them off, but I try to do Fridays off and Sundays off. Sometimes I'll work half a day on Friday. And that's pretty much how I look at the seven pillars of abundance. Now, I know
Can
you
I
are going to,
interrupt you?
yeah, please.
When you said the financial and you take Fridays off and whatever, so financial correlates essentially to your work schedule for you. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, for my work schedule. But like for you, you're in a season where you're, taking your brand global. You're about to go on the Home Shopping Network. So you might be working 7 days a week right now. And that's okay because you're in launch mode. So like I said, there's no hard and fast rules. It's just knowing that there are seven areas of life that you want to touch at least once a week.
Yeah.
And then the rest is just up to you and what you want to focus on. But yes, you're right. People have one or two areas where they're usually crushing, and then a couple areas that they're completely neglecting.
Yeah. It'd be really helpful, I think. We'll create some type of like illustration with all those seven pillars. I'm sure you have something like that for the audience,
Yeah.
and then they can start really paying attention to those pillars. Okay. What do you think is the most neglected pillar, and what do you think it costs them long term?
I think it's health for
Mhm.
high achieving women. I think they put everyone else's needs ahead of them, their boss, their coworkers, their spouse, their kids, and they put themselves last. And the women that I work with feel like, oh my God, I'll work out later. And they're wearing their workout clothes all day. And by the time they get around to it, they don't have the energy. So I tell them to put body before business, to do your workout earlier in the day as early as possible, get it
Yeah,
out of the way, and then the energy you have from the workout is actually going to fuel all the other things so you can show up as a better boss or employee or mother or lover or coworker.
that's
So,
really amazing that you say that because I just recently went to this really inspiring conference called Limitless Live, and it was all about 10xing your life, 10xing your health. And it was what they mentioned was that your health, it needs to be the number one in your life. That movement
mm,
needs to be the number one thing that you prioritize in your life because without it, everything else that's how long term everything else is going to kind of be affected in a negative way. And so I love your answer because I think that totally aligns with me. I'm really am trying also to, prioritize movement. So I sometimes I'll set my alarm for 5:30 in the morning and I'll go try and get a workout in, where I make sure I'm taking my dog to like on a long walk. Anything you can do to get sunshine, get outside, or just move your body is so important. So important. I love that. Okay.
I agree. Health is
So,
wealth.
what would you say?
Health is wealth.
Health is wealth. Totally. Okay. So, what does spiritual abundance look like in everyday life, even for people who don't identify as spiritual in a traditional sense? Um, I am personally very spiritual, but for those who are not, how would you answer that?
Spiritual abundance is just knowing whether whatever your religion is or not religious, that there is something other than yourself that is in control. Like there's only two things you have to know. One, that there is a higher power, and two, that you're not it. So we are not, bringing in the tides in and out of the ocean. We are not, making the moon go from a quarter moon to a full moon. We're not moving the clouds or creating weather. Even if your higher power is nature or just the universe or the seasons, but just knowing that there is something out there that has your back.
Yeah.
Because I personally used to be an atheist. Like I was raised by a psychiatrist and he didn't believe in a higher power. And I had a spiritual breakdown when I was 19 years old, and that's when I discovered the spiritual path through 12-step work. And I got sober, and that's how I discovered it. But when I was the one that was running the show, it just put so much pressure on me, and it wasn't fun. It's so much more fun to know that there is a higher power out there that loves you more than your wildest comprehension.
Yeah. No, that's really important. And I, in this last 2 years, have become very, very spiritual. I've always been a spiritual person, but um, I've put so much more effort into it in the last 2 years, but when I just completely committed to manifestation, and reading all about it and learning about how to reframe limiting beliefs and your mind and mindset shifts and all of these types of things. And it's changed my life and it's changed how I lead my business. And I like to equate it, when you do get into that, more spiritual mindset, is leading with your feminine. Everybody has a feminine side, but a lot of people, especially high functioning, like entrepreneurial women or business executive women, they do neglect their feminine. And so you have to balance, like, the way I define feminine is leaning into your spiritual side and leaning
Beautiful.
and leading with your heart, really leading with, yeah.
Yes.
So that's something I think a lot of women could benefit from, like learning more how to do that. So, what's one daily spiritual practice that you recommend so that women can, if they, whether or not they are spiritual, what is something that's like an easy first step, I guess, to implement into their life?
Well, I want to tell you the story of how I found this abundance journal. I was sitting in a 12-step meeting. I was 19, and I met a woman named Janet, and she's like, "Here's how you write in a God journal." And she gave me a few life-changing journal prompts. Then I added a few of my own, and I have been writing in that journal every single day for 35 years. And it is a journal that will change your thinking from negative to positive. For example, one of the journal prompts is, how is the worst thing that happened to me today actually the best thing? And
Mm,
this keeps me really humble because
mhm,
I don't know what the best thing is. I
mhm.
mean, maybe, I got in a traffic jam because it's kept me out of something that would be even worse, or you just don't even know. But it's just it builds that faith muscle.
Yeah.
And that's how all the questions in the abundance journal are. And I never saw Janet again. I could picture her face like it was yesterday, even though it was 35 years ago. And I think she was an angel because she
Wow.
gave me this life-changing journal that I've been using as my number one spiritual tool. And now every time something happens to me, I'm like, okay, what is God doing for me today? What I couldn't and wouldn't do for myself.
I love that. Love that. That's something that I think everybody can implement really easily, is just spending, what, 5 to 10
Five
minutes
minutes. Yeah, 5, 10 minutes
writing. Yeah.
writing. And if you don't even want to write it, you could just say it out loud to your
Hmm.
phone,
Hmm.
to the notes section of your phone and do like a digital journal. But just
Hmm.
having this way to reframe your thinking will really sculpt your soul. We
Yeah.
hire personal trainers to sculpt our bodies. So this is going to sculpt your soul and help you go from a scarcity to an abundance mindset. That's why I call it an abundance journal. And all your listeners can get that for free. I also have like a whole bundle of gifts to give them that we'll talk about at the end, but that's one of them.
Yeah. That's great. Thank you. So we talked a little bit about like physical well-being and everything. So, I talked about what I do getting up in the morning. What's something you do or something you can recommend that, a physical shift that people can make without overhauling their entire lifestyle? Busy women, busy men
Mhm.
that don't have time. What do you recommend that they do?
I think they should drink detox water before they drink coffee or tea. So I started so simple with my detox water, and then every time I hear about another superfood, I add it in. So now it's
What is
like,
detox water?
well, it can be as simple as water with lemon.
Okay.
Okay. I've added a lot of different concoctions to mine as the years go on because I study nutrition and I hear other things. I'm like, ooh, I'm going to add that to my detox water. So just if you want to do one simple thing, water with lemon before your coffee. The next thing I would add is electrolytes. Okay. Just even add like a little pinch of high quality Himalayan salt. I've also started to add a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar.
Mm,
Sometimes I add ginseng, and sometimes I add powdered greens.
okay.
Um, and sometimes I add liquid collagen.
The
But that's
list
what I
goes
said. Mine's
on.
gotten very complex. So if you just want a simple hack, water with lemon first thing in the morning before your coffee, it will hydrate your skin. It will just help your body because when your body is asleep, it's detoxing and all your organs are working while you're sleeping to purge. And then if you drink that lemon water first thing in the morning, it just helps get everything moving and it's a really good thing to do before your coffee.
My husband will love this because he makes me drink lemon water is like all the time. He shoves it at me and he's like, drink this before you have anything to eat. And he also will sprinkle Celtic salt in my
Yes, that's exactly. Those are two out of my 10 ingredients that I mentioned. But yes,
amazing.
lemon
Oh,
water and salt, which is electrolytes,
all
are
right, guys,
great.
you can do that. Get outside, go on a walk, and drink lemon water with some Celtic salt. I think we can all manage that. Okay, awesome. So, a lot of people are high functioning, but emotionally exhausted, right? I'm one of them. How do
Mhm.
you begin healing on the inside while still moving forward on the outside?
Well, why are you emotionally exhausted?
Yeah, I think it's for me, it's a lot to do with my business stress and just right now it's go time. And we are, I haven't announced much to the audience yet, but we have a lot of big things coming up. We're launching new products. We're going to be on a few different networks. And so, um, with that being said, I'm exhausted because every day is a different fire I'm putting out and just a high level stress.
Hmm. So, all emotions come from fear or love. Fear-based emotions are anxiety, jealousy, bitterness, comparison, not enough, just limiting beliefs, and all positive emotions come from love.
Mm-hmm.
Appreciation, happiness, joy, contentment, playfulness, satisfaction, bliss, ecstasy. So if you are in exhaustion, then you are in fear-based thinking in some way.
Yeah,
And, and
definitely.
when you're having excessive energy, you're in love-based thinking. And sometimes you want to be even more committed to whatever it is that you're doing. Because I know when I get exhausted, I'm just like, oh my God, I just want to quit. It's not even worth it. What am I even doing? It's not going to work out anyway. So why even
Mm-hmm.
try? But
Mm-hmm.
if you increase your commitment and like, I am going to make this work if it's the last thing I do, and I'm going to have fun doing it, and this is happening and you just go to an even deeper level of commitment, then you can also get more energy from that.
Yeah. I will say I do that.
Good.
I I don't even think of failure as an option. I
I
really
love
don't.
it.
And I have a one track mind right now. It's just it is
You're,
happening. It's all
yeah,
happening,
you're,
and I that is the way that I go with it. Um, but I do feel depleted at the end of the day. I'm sure a lot of people do too, just with having two kids, starting a
yeah, a
business,
lot.
and then also, I have a husband who has needs too. So it's just like, it is a lot. But I like tell me more about that where you were talking about the love based. Tell me more about that, about coming from that side of it instead of the fear based.
Well, it's like a channel in your mind. And when your energy is depleted, it's a scarcity conversation of I'm tired, I don't have enough energy, there's too much to do and not enough time, I'm so overwhelmed. So how can we change that to love? Like, I love what I do so much. I believe in it. I
Okay.
love the people that I work with. I love the
Okay.
people that I'm going to serve. This is
Okay.
going to be so much fun to promote. This is so
Yeah, that's
like
good. This is going to
so
be
much
so much
fun.
fun. I think
Yeah,
that's,
I'm gonna
I
meet so
think,
many cool people
yeah,
like that are gonna just love this. It's all about changing channels in your mind. Music helps too, like listening to energizing music and having like a playlist that of music that really gets you pumped up can really change your state.
I totally resonate with that. I was in the car the other day and I all of a sudden just got this like my whole body just lit up listening to this song and I started blasting it in my car and just singing at the top of my lungs and I got so excited about what was coming up and it really did completely like change my entire and all the energy that was just stagnant it like left my body. So I totally align with that. Okay. So I want to talk a little bit about self-love, self-compassion. Um, what role does self-compassion play in emotional abundance for you?
It plays a big role because I am a recovering perfectionist. So Princeton grad with honors, nationally ranked tennis player, like top salesperson in every organization I've ever been in. I am just, I was, and I'm still all about winning. So I have to reframe. And now I like to say, I strive for imperfection. I am not a mistake if I make a mistake. I try to be present, not perfect. I try to have playful energy because perfectionism is not playful. It's very rigid. It's white knuckling it.
Yeah,
I've got to have all my, I's dotted and T's crossed, and everything has to be perfect. And
yeah.
even if I do get what I want, it's like, well, that wasn't enough. Now what am I going to do? It's just not a very fun way to be. Another thing I take out of my vocabulary is woulda, coulda, and shoulda,
Mm,
because when I'm saying woulda, coulda, and shoulda, I'm beating myself up. Oh, I should have done it better. I could have done it better if I only would have said or done this. So I take those out of my vocabulary, and I love the affirmation I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. I live in a friendly universe. Everything is working out for me.
love that. I repeat that to myself too. Everything is working out in my favor. That's how I try to think every day. Even if it's not the outcome that I want, I know that there's like a higher power that is sees way more than I do. that's that's
Yeah.
that's my belief. Okay. So when someone keeps attracting the same kind of relationship that doesn't fulfill them, where do you usually start?
Well, that's what I was doing until I met my current husband. I was like attracting the same asshole guy over and over and over and over again. And it was definitely a self-love thing because I was attracting guys who talked to me in the same harsh way that I was talking to myself and my own inner
Mm,
narrative. So when I started to be more relaxed and more compassionate and more loving with myself, I attracted someone like my husband, Ben, who's so easygoing and laid back, and we never even fight. So it's all about changing how you talk to yourself and how you treat yourself, which is like the question that we just covered about overcoming perfectionism by, compassion. You're
yeah.
exactly what you're supposed to be. You're doing the best you can. The only thing you can really control is your attitude and your energy. We can't control other people. I like to say I'm in the action business and God is in the results business. All I can do is show up and take the next indicated action, and then the results are how they're supposed to be.
Yeah. I think I really like that answer. And I also think that self-love is very underrated and people do not pay enough attention to what you're saying about the way they speak to themselves, the way that they feel loved by others. And I myself didn't realize how depleted that part of my that I was, I guess to say. So I did this pause breath work app and it was a self-love journey. And you can download it on your phone, pause. And I have never felt more loved when I essentially did this breath work and at the end I meditated and I envisioned all of these people surrounding me that have passed or even my loved ones at present. And they were all surrounding me, just telling me how loved I was. And I remember
Beautiful.
journaling after that session and feeling like a 10 out of 10. And the day
Wow.
before I was like, a 5 out of 10 in my just like how I felt in that day. And I just want people to pay more attention to that, more attention to the fact that you are so loved and caring less about what people think about you and view
That's a
that,
big thing.
yeah, and that you're worthy just as you are. You're worthy of every success just as you are. And I think that's just such an underrated topic. So,
Well, you've done such beautiful work on yourself, Arielle, and
thank you.
there's really no need to worry about what people think because 30% of the people are going to love you no matter what you do. 30% of the people are not going to like you no matter what you do. And the other 30% of the people don't even care what you're doing. So it's
Mhm.
like you're not going to change these numbers anyway with anything you do, and just enjoy the people that are going to love you no matter what you do.
Yeah,
But know that 60% of the people, you're powerless over what they think, and it doesn't matter. Like,
yeah.
if they're not paying your bills, they're not going into the grave with you. Like, it doesn't matter what they think
I
of you.
Yeah,
It's
that's something that I've definitely taken with me. Like, I think a lot of people struggle with like everybody wants everybody to love them. Like a lot of people feel that way. And so I've just gotten to this place where I'm not white knuckling that as much as I used to. Like as I've gotten older, I'm kind of just like whoever wants to be present in my life, whoever wants to be included in my life will be there. And whoever doesn't, I'm not gonna try and control that part of my life so hard. And then I've noticed that really amazing people have started entering my life since I started doing that.
well, to talk about feminine energy does not convince, and feminine energy does not chase. It
Mm,
magnetizes. So if you want to be in your feminine energy, then yeah, if somebody wants to leave your life, like great, let them go
yeah.
with love. If somebody wants to walk into your life and if they have something to that's additive and they're fun and you're enjoyable, then they can come to your life. But you don't want to be chasing or convincing people because that does complete, it depletes your energy. And that is masculine energy, chasing and convincing and pushing people.
I don't want any of that.
Me neither.
Okay, so Rebecca, you've won Mindset Coach of the Decade. How does the mental pillar influence every other pillar?
Well, the mental pillar is room to grow. So a lot of people get the emotional and the mental confused in my framework. So emotional means how you're feeling. Mental is what are you learning? And we can
Mm,
all learn something every day. What I love about you, Arielle, is you're constantly learning and improving. The people who are listening to this wonderful podcast are working on their mental pillar. You could work on the mental pillar by traveling and learning about a new culture or
mm.
playing a musical instrument or writing a book or inventing a product. It's just being improving your mind and learning and trying new things. And I feel like we're going to be learning until our last breath. Like there's always something to learn. And I don't believe in failure. I either win or I learn. So it empowers me to take bigger risks in my life and in my business when I know there is no failure.
That's a really good answer. What's one mindset reframe that creates immediate expansion?
Changing I have to I get to.
Oh,
So
love that.
whatever you are dreading, like, oh, I have to get up early and take my kids to school. No, I
Yeah.
get to. Do you know how many people would love kids and don't have them? Or do you know how long it took you to conceive? And so many people don't have healthy kids and your kid is healthy. Or, oh, I have to pay my bills. No, I get to pay my bills because I have a beautiful home to live in and beautiful clothes to wear and supplements to take or whatever it is, changing if you just take the word have to and replace it with get to, that can just cause such a big shift in your abundance
I'm
mentality.
literally going to write that on a post-it and put it on my mirror. That is, and you hear that, but you forget it. And I think you have to be reminded of that change. That's such
You
a,
get to be reminded.
I get to be reminded. Love it. Okay. So midlife can feel surprisingly lonely for a lot of people. So what does social abundance actually look like at this stage of life?
Well, I don't believe in neutral energy. People either are lifting you up and cheering you on, or they're draining you and detracting from your energy. If somebody's neutral, that's negative. Like if you're like, oh my God, I just had this wonderful thing happen, and they're like, that is not
Mm-mm,
supportive. That's negative.
mm-mm.
So I tell my clients, walk away from the people who are not cheering you on and supporting you and find the women that are cheering you on and supporting you. And we don't have to have the same women friends at every age and stage of life. As we grow and become more our authentic selves and more successful, sometimes we have friends that are jealous, and that jealousy and competition is just going to slow you down and weigh you down. And if you feel anything that is not love and support, I really encourage you to bless that person and walk away and find the women that are going to love you and support you and cheer you on.
I love that. Would you say that that is, if you were going to give somebody advice to somebody who's felt isolated or disconnected, would that be the piece of advice you'd give them?
Well, if somebody feels isolated and disconnected, I would tell you to leave the house, replace your sweatpants with jeans, and go to a live event. So I am a big believer. One of my intentions, because I said intentions in all these areas for social, is to go to at least one live event a quarter, a networking event, a conference, an expo, some
Yeah.
big event where you can meet a lot of people. And that has really helped me a lot. And then there's local events you can do. You can do, church, temple, yoga class, Rotary
Sound
class,
baths.
Chamber of yeah, anything, the dog park. Like
Yeah.
just start talking to people. And if you ask people questions about themselves, they're going to fall in love with you and be your best friend. But I encourage you just to get out of the house, put on
Yeah.
some regular clothes and start going to events.
Yeah. My husband says to me a lot, you do your best when you're out. And
Yeah.
I agree. I mean, I'm a social butterfly. And when I'm out, I like to talk, I like to learn about everybody around me. I always say you really truly never know who you're going to meet anywhere you go,
Anywhere.
anywhere you go. And so my number one superpower for me is networking. And,
I love it.
working from home can be really isolating for people. And
Mhm.
so, yeah, I think a lot of people find refuge in social media because that's their connection to the outside world. And I think what you have said is really powerful. And people really do, they need to look for events that you resonate with, because then you're going to meet like-minded people at those events, and you're just going to want to keep doing those things more and
And
more.
then invite someone to coffee. Say, I love this conversation. I'd love to continue this at a
Yep.
coffee. Can I text you?
Yep.
And
I do that all the time. I met a new friend in Newport Beach where we moved a year ago, and I just connected with her right away. And that's rare for me to connect on this level with somebody. And I asked her to go to a sound bath with me the next day. And then now we do dinners all the time together. I'm going out with her tonight. So, you have to put the effort in.
and that's your social pillar of having that
Yep.
weekly interaction with a friend.
Yes, totally. Okay. How does money flow differently when the other pillars are aligned?
Well, money is the last pillar for a reason. People think it's the first pillar. People think I'll work hard, I'll make a ton of money, I'll hire a personal trainer, then I'll look really hot, then I'll attract my soulmate, then we'll go on spiritual retreats and we'll socialize with other couples and then we'll be happy. But in my experience, money is the last piece of the puzzle because when you are spiritually and physically fit and you are happy and you have friends and you're learning things and mentally stimulated and you have a beautiful romance, people are going to be magnetized to want to do business with you and to give you opportunities and money. For example, it was through your publicist. She found me. I didn't find you. You were on my show, and then you invited me on your show. And that is because all the pillars of my life were in alignment. I didn't go knocking on your door, but you found
Mhm.
me through the law of attraction.
Yep.
And that is how opportunities come about.
Yep. You're the first person that I've been interviewed on a podcast that I asked to come on here, by the way.
Oh my God. Thank you so much. I'm so honored.
Yeah, you're special, and I resonate so much with everything that we're talking about today. Like because I want to improve all those things. I want to learn more of how I can better, my life in all of those areas. So, what's a common money belief that you help people release?
That it has to be hard.
That it has to be hard. I
That
totally agree. Yes. It
people
doesn't have to
think
be hard.
it has
Yes.
to be hard and you have to work, to exhaustion. And if you are in alignment with your life and you're happy and you're in joy, you can work like 2 to 4 hours a day and become a millionaire.
I totally agree. It's
Yeah.
all about how efficient you are, first of all, because a lot of
Yes.
time, one thing that I do, and you tell me what you think of it, but I mean, I'm barely getting to my emails. I think emails are the biggest time suck. I'll do a quick
Yep.
scan and I'll try and, get to whatever I need. But I, if I want to do anything that's going to make money for the company or it's going to actually yield a result, it's not checking emails.
Right.
It's
Exactly.
focusing on the task at hand. So, and I leave emails for the end of the day, honestly. Like sometimes,
Smart.
yeah. And I think that's a really good piece of advice just for anybody listening because it took a while for me to learn that because I was spending my day checking my emails. And then by the end of it, I'm like, I haven't done anything, you know?
Yeah.
And then you feel like just completely unaccomplished, but you're like, oh, but my inbox is clean. But like, what did that yield you? So, anyway, for me, that's how I would say I've done that.
Yeah, focus on the money making activities
Yeah.
that bring in revenue and move the ball forward and delegate as much as you can. And don't get distracted by social media.
Yes. That is a big one too for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Um, why is midlife such a powerful time for transformation rather than a decline? Like I believe it is too, but why do you think?
Well, I think women are stepping into their power. Women used to only be valued for their ability to have babies. So when they turn, late 30s, then they were devalued by society because they're like, oh, you can't have a baby anymore. Like, forget her. But now that that is not the case, women are, running companies, and there's so many women entrepreneurs and founders like yourself, and leaders and CEOs, and there's more women doctors now than men. And
Yeah.
it's truly a new society right now. Women are really running shit.
Yeah.
And they feel in midlife that they have wisdom, they
Yeah.
have friends, they have built some
Yeah.
confidence, they've had some success, they
Yeah.
know more about what they want, they
Mm,
they have goals,
totally.
they don't have to answer to anyone. They're not like, living in their parents' house or an entry level job where they have to work for a boss. So I feel like women in midlife are just stepping into their power, and
Yeah.
I'm all about it. And I'm all about society becoming a matriarchy because if women were running things, I think it would be a kinder, gentler world. And a lot of people do say spiritually that is what is happening. Women are slowly but surely going to be running things. And there are certain cultures in the past where women have been, the leaders and the people in power. And I'm not against men. I love men. I
Yeah.
love my husband. they're amazing. I don't think that women stepping into their power have to be against men.
No.
I think that we can work together and that we both have strengths, but I think that women are just achieving success in a kinder,
Hmm.
gentler way that's better for animals, our planet,
Yep.
and our society.
Totally. Couldn't agree more. How do the seven pillars work together to create what you call magnetism?
Yes. Well, I believe magnetism is things coming to you rather you going out to things, kind of what we've been talking
Yes.
about. And when you have energy from your spiritual practice in the morning, from your workout, from keeping your emotions high vibe and not getting into fear and scarcity,
Yes.
having fun and friends and learning, that is what magnetizes money, people, opportunities. So many people are just hyper focused on one thing. They're just like
Hmm.
a workaholic or they're a gym rat or they're a housewife that goes out to lunch every day or plays pickleball every day but doesn't make money. You know, and if that's you, that's great. But if you have all these areas of your life going in any capacity, that makes you really magnetic and interesting because you have friends that you work out with and friends that you socialize with and friends that you work with. And it just makes your life so dynamic and you're having fun and you're enjoy and joy is magnetic.
Yes. Joy is the key word there. It really is. How do you infuse more joy into your life? I mean, that for me is something that I need to work on, like just infusing more fun and joy. And I think, like you said, like going to a concert, like doing a date night, just having more fun planned into the schedule. That's what I would say can help also magnetize because then things start just becoming more effortless because you're just
Yeah.
naturally happier. Yeah.
Scheduling the things that give you fun and joy.
Yeah.
And, you know, no one's getting out of here alive. So there are no U-Hauls following hearse. So if we put all our effort into accumulation of stuff and forget to have fun, then really what was it all for? So
Totally.
I love what Abraham Hicks says. You know, they used to tour the country with a huge trailer that says on the side, life is supposed to be fun. And I really think it is. And having
Yeah.
fun gets it done, and you can actually do more with less effort because people are, to go back to magnetic, magnetized to the people that are having fun.
Yes. You're
Maybe
inspiring
that
me right now. I'm,
maybe that's why I'm the only one that got invited on your podcast because we
yeah.
had so much fun on my
We
podcast,
did
right?
have fun. We did have fun. And I really do want, you're making me think about different things I can do in my life to infuse more fun because that's definitely, that's, that's been what's lacking in my life for a long time now. Just like, because I've been so focused, on getting to the finish line or getting here or getting there. And, you forget sometimes to like enjoy yourself along the way.
Yeah.
Um,
Enjoy the journey, not just the destination.
yeah, totally. Is there a pillar people most often resist working on, but they need to the most?
I would say physical. Yeah.
Yes,
People just
totally.
don't want to work out.
Yeah,
They don't want to drink the water. I believe in H&M, not the discount clothing store, but hydration, nutrition, and movement. And if you can do those three things, you can be healthy. But a lot of people, I don't want to drink water. I don't want to have to pee all the time, or I
yeah,
always forget to take my supplements, or I don't have any time to move my body. So yes, I think they're very resistant to the second pillar, which is physical.
and what's the order? Remind us again of the order of the pillars that you work
Spiritual, physical, emotional, romantic, mental, social, and finally financial.
on. Okay, that's really helpful because when I make that list, I'm going to try, you hit it one step at a time. No one's expecting everyone to do it all at once, but
No.
I think what could be really helpful is rating where you feel you are in each
Yes,
pillar and saying, I feel like I'm at a 5 here, I'm a 10 here, I'm a 6 here, and then you can start working on those pillars.
absolutely. You
Yeah,
want to look at each area of your life, rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10, and ask yourself, what do I want to experience in this area?
yeah,
And what actions are necessary for me to feel the way I want to feel about it?
yes. if somebody and I think that's a really if somebody's overwhelmed by this conversation, like where do I start? I think this is the perfect way to start. You look at those seven pillars and you start rating yourself and just start knocking it off one by one. And how can you reframe those limiting beliefs surrounding that pillar? Yeah.
Yep, and you can also go to the link in my bio in Instagram because I did a master class for the beginning of the year and I teach you how to set affirmations in all seven of the areas so you can have the results that you want. So that master class is free. It's in my Instagram link in bio. So I'd encourage everyone to go there and grab that free master class so you can start learning my method of setting affirmations.
I am definitely doing that. When I
Great.
get a minute, I'm
Yeah,
doing
when you'll be
it.
listening to it on a walk.
Yes. Okay, I'm going to ask you one last question before we end with, where everybody can find you. But tell me this. What would you say to someone who feels successful on paper but empty inside?
I would say, first of all, congratulations on feeling successful on paper, because not a lot of people do feel successful on paper. So that's great. And if they feel empty on the inside, I would tell them it's because they don't have a relationship with the power greater than themselves.
Yeah.
And they've been using outside stuff to fill a God-sized hole in their heart. And
Mm.
I would encourage them to get a morning practice. And a great book about the morning practice is Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. And he talks about savers are the best morning practices. Oh, hi. Okay. Um, Silence is the S, affirmations, visualizations, exercise, reading, and scribing, which is journaling. I would say, just to make it even simpler, drink the lemon water first, get your coffee, grab the abundance journal, and just take
Yes,
5 minutes to scribble or voice the questions. And that will start you cultivating a relationship with a power greater than yourself.
I love that. And then to end, where can people connect with you and your podcast and your work? And then I want you to answer, who do you most love supporting?
Aw. Well, I'll start with that. I love supporting high achieving midlife women and helping them transform from burned out and overwhelmed to balanced, beautiful, and abundant by aligning their life in the seven pillars. And you can find me on Instagram at Rebecca E. Whitman, RebeccaEWhitman. And in my Instagram link in bio, it's pillar.io/Rebecca E. Whitman. You can grab my abundance journal. You can grab this gift. It's called the Balance Beautiful Bundle. You get a copy of my book, a PDF, How to Make a Six-Figure Working Income Working Part-Time, 25 Ageless Beauty Tips. You get the abundance journal and you get a daily reminder to your phone to journal. And that's just my gift to everyone. It's called the Balance Beautiful Bundle. You can find that in my Instagram link in bio.
Thank you so much. I loved this conversation.
I loved it
It
too.
really left me feeling inspired, and I'm going to go right away to your link in bios before I forget. And I really do want to start focusing more on all those seven pillars because they're so important. So thank you so much. I loved having you.
It's been such a great conversation, and I'm so excited to be your new friend and have you in my life and support you.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.